right, so today we're going deep on long-term investing.
Ooh, yeah.
And it feels super relevant right now
Absolutely.
with all the market craziness we've been seeing lately.
Really? Yeah.
You sent over some really interesting stuff for this deep dive,
Oh, good. I'm glad.
including some clips from the TICE Entrepreneurs podcast
Mm-hmm.
and this article called Long-Term Investing, Surviving Market Shifts, and Achieving Goals.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people are thinking about this right now.
For sure.
We really want to help everyone figure out how to not just survive this market, but thrive in it
Yeah.
and still hit those long-term financial goals.
Absolutely.
So one of the things that the TICE Entrepreneurs podcast talked about was foreign investors kind of pulling back from Indian stocks.
Right.
Now, obviously, it's a global market and things are interconnected, but have you seen this impacting your investments at all?
Yeah, definitely. It's a sign of the times for sure.
Yeah.
And the podcast pointed to a few factors that are kind of making investors nervous. You know, there are concerns about an economic slowdown in India.
Right.
Some companies have had their profit forecasts downgraded.
Oh, wow.
And then there's the possibility of the U.S. imposing tariffs, you
Right.
know. So it's making people a little bit hesitant, especially because Indian stocks are already at relatively low valuations.
Yeah, that's interesting because later on in that podcast, they talked about global fund managers like moving money into Chinese stocks because of the whole AI boom.
Yeah.
Which seems kind of risky, right?
Well, you know, risk and reward often go hand in hand.
True.
And the potential in China right now is really attracting a lot of attention,
I can see why.
especially with all the AI advancements, you know, driving this bull run.
Yeah.
But I think it just highlights how important it is to pay attention to global trends, even if you're not directly invested in those specific markets.
Right.
Because those shifts can ripple out and impact your portfolio no matter what.
For sure. For sure. Okay, so how do we figure out like where to put our money with all this like up and down stuff happening?
Right.
Because both of the sources we looked at, they really emphasized long-term financial goals.
Yeah, that's really the core of it all, isn't it?
Yeah.
The article, Long-Term Investing, Surviving Market Shifts and Achieving Goals, talks a lot about aligning your investments with your goals.
Okay.
So like, you know, ask yourself, are you saving for a down payment on a house in 5 years? Or are you planning for retirement like decades from now?
Right.
Those are totally different timelines and they need totally different strategies.
Absolutely. And how does someone like realistically determine their own risk tolerance?
Yeah.
Because that feels like a thing that changes all the time.
You're totally right. It's not static at all.
Okay.
Like picture someone in their 20s who's just starting out, you know? They might have a higher risk tolerance because they have more time to recover if things go south.
Makes sense.
But someone who's closer to retirement might be more focused on preserving their capital
Yeah.
and opt for, you know, lower risk investments. So life events, financial goals, even your personality, all these things play a role in shaping your risk tolerance.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so both sources talked a lot about diversification,
Yeah.
you know, spreading your investments. But what does that actually look like in practice?
Yeah, good question.
Like, are there any concrete examples that you can give?
Sure. So diversification is kind of like that old saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Right.
So think about asset allocation, for example,
Yep.
dividing your investments between stocks, bonds, and even real estate.
Yeah.
Each one of those has a different risk and return profile. Then there's also geographic diversification.
Okay.
So not limiting yourself to just one country or region.
Gotcha.
Like, for instance, you could invest in an international index fund that
Yeah.
tracks companies across different continents.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Yeah.
So long-term investing, surviving market shifts, and achieving goals also suggests regularly reviewing and rebalancing your portfolio.
Yes,
Why is that step so important?
because life and the market are constantly changing.
For sure.
Your goals might evolve, your risk tolerance might shift,
Right.
and the market can throw you some real curveballs.
Yeah.
So by reviewing and rebalancing your portfolio, you're basically making sure that your investments stay aligned with your plan.
Gotcha.
Think of it like a checkup for your finances.
Yeah, like an annual physical for your money.
Exactly.
Okay, so they also touched on seeking professional advice. When do you think it actually makes sense to involve like a financial advisor?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
I think if you're feeling overwhelmed or facing a complex financial situation, or even if you just want a second opinion, getting professional advice can be really valuable.
Right.
They can help you create a plan that's tailored to your specific needs, help you navigate market volatility, and, keep your long-term goals in sight.
Awesome. So it sounds like even with all the market craziness, aligning your portfolio with your goals, understanding your risk tolerance, and diversifying wisely can really set you up for success.
Absolutely. It's about playing the long game and making your money work for you.
So to wrap things up, here's a final thought for everyone listening.
Okay.
The sources we looked at focused on financial planning.
Mm-hmm.
But how can we apply this long-term thinking and strategic alignment to other areas of our lives?
That's a good question.
Yeah, like what goals are you working towards and how can you strategize